Hey, I look forward to seeing a bunch of you at Regrow LA out in the Mojave Desert on Sunday, February 9th, as we volunteer to help For Every Star a Tree grow their tiny forest. It's going to be a celebration of creative community, healing in the wake of the LA fires, and planting for climate resilience. There'll be poetry, stories, music. I'm going to share a story about my own experience with evacuating from a wildfire here in Ventura. As an added incentive, I'm also offering volunteers who come that day a free copy of my historical novel of 2024, Candlelight Bridge, which was inspired by the family stories of my Mexican Chinese grandma who raised me. Just to give you a little taste of this book, I am going to share with you a part of the story that takes place in the 1930s when some things were happening in this country that are being echoed today. Bitten, 1931 to 1934, El Paso, Texas. The lunatic chorus of the coyote pack woke Candelaria every night. It used to be that coyotes rarely ventured so far from the hillsides, except to devour the occasional chicken, cat, or dog. Then the raids hit Segundo Barrio, led not by coyotes, but Anglos, men on the hunt for Mexicans. In America, everyone took a turn as the enemy. For years, the Chinese took the blame for stealing jobs. Now it was the Mexicans' turn. The ragtag band of mounted guards who used to keep out the Chinese had grown into the hundreds of armed lawmen of the Border Patrol. At first, they focused on smugglers, but as the country fell into a depression, they banded with other federal agents, Texas lawmen, and ordinary men loaded with guns, alcohol, or rage, with one purpose in mind: to drag all Mexicans to Mexico. America declared no new law, no act or proclamation, yet suddenly it was illegal to be of Mexican descent. El Paso was more than half Mexican, and more than half of those were born here. But that didn't stop angry white men from hauling her people away all the same. It felt like a war, except there was no way to fight back. The people of Segundo Barrio were poor, outnumbered, and outgunned. Some panicked and left before anyone even came for them. By 1931, most of her neighbors were arrested, deported, or chased across the border. She wrote to her brother Miguel in LA to ask if it might be safer for her and the kids to come there and stay with their parents, until Miguel wrote back and warned her not to. Querida Candelita, don't come. It's not safe. In Los Angeles, thousands of Mexicanos have been rounded up like cattle, dragged from their homes, beaten at their jobs, stolen off the streets. Police herd them onto buses and trains in broad daylight. They sold the empty houses of neighbors who were born here to, quote, pay for their transportation to Mexico. I heard they cart away sick Mexicans from the hospital. One guy with consumption was dumped on the street in Tijuana. Best to stay home in El Paso and don't attract attention. Un abrazo fuerte, Miguel. She followed her big brother's advice, stayed home, and hid as her neighborhood emptied around her. The city of El Paso demolished many an abandoned home and shop. A lot of the remaining tenements and shacks leaned this way and that, like drunks who forgot the way home. No vacancy lasts forever. Hobos who rode the rails camped amid the barrio's skeletal remains, built fires from broken tables and chairs, and begged for bottles of booze. Weeds poked through the floors, trees burst through ceilings, and rodents set up housekeeping. Coyotes went on the prowl, and each night their freakish howls drew closer to her family's door. Thank you for listening. If you'd like a copy of this book, it's all yours as long as supplies last. If you come volunteer at Regrow LA. I hope to see you there.